today's pretty exciting. We're gonna talk about how I went from this to this. Let's do it. It's been a minute since I posted my last video. There's been a lot of changes in my life, all for the better. I know the last video I uploaded was about 2 weeks ago, which is usually my flow, but I recorded that video, I think, longer than that. Anyways, a couple videos ago, I was discussing making some pedals from a pedal PCB. Anyways, I got the bug. It has bit hard, and like everything around me that is related to a hobby, when I like something, I go deep. So it started out as following instructions to a pedal PCB build, to trying to modify a pedal PCB build, to shopping around for every type of case and color from different manufacturers, squeezing every single switch, turning every knob, buying the same knob from different vendors. I mean, it's been crazy. All for the better. It got to the point where I made my own brand. Introducing the Melo Tone Labs. There's still no website for it. I just finished building some pedals. Disclaimer, they are using pedal PCBs, but I've added a couple twists, some mods if you will, that I think make the pedal a little better. And if not better, then at least better for me, because my pedal. So let's talk about that. So the first pedal PCB that I built was this one right here. I took off the knobs because since I'm not using it, I didn't want to allocate some nice knobs to a pedal that I wasn't using. This was almost hell. It was a lot of fun. I didn't know how to solder properly. I didn't have a good flow on what parts to assemble in their particular order. So there was a lot of me putting it together, finding out that parts then wouldn't fit, taking them back apart, which meant a lot of times desoldering, which is a whole skill in and of itself, which I'm very happy to say has gotten much, much better, to the point where I'm not even worried about if I soldered something in the wrong spot, because I can now cleanly desolder something and cleanly solder something. But once I had this build, the first thing that I noticed was, as much as I liked the sound, I didn't like its full functionality. It used logarithmic taper knobs on the volume as opposed to linear, which is a huge bummer, to be honest, because if you're not familiar with linear versus logarithmic, I'm not an expert by any means, but the way I understand it is the taper is not fully even from start to finish. It is very, very, very gradual, and then when you get to a certain point, usually, I don't know, 3/4 of the way, that's when a lot of changes happen. Kind of like a slider on a mixing board, where the bottom of the slider, when you move it a little bit, you're really jumping like 5-10 dBs, as opposed to the very top where you're really going granular. Anyways, it makes it for really, in my opinion, boring sweep of the pedal, because you only get this tiny little fraction of a window to use. So I started diving deep on some forums, and it just found out about linear pots, different resistor values that people would use in between pots to make them sweep at very specific ranges. That led me to shop around for different resistors and capacitor from different vendors, things that were more I don't remember the word. Essentially, there was from a 5% to a 10% to a 1% variance in consistency to the readings of these resistors and capacitors and diodes. That's a whole other thing. Then I went shopping for diodes, from germanium to silicon. I mean, it's been awesome. It's been amazing. I'm really trying to stay focused here, but I can't because I'm super excited. So anyways, long story short, after I built this one, kept building him, started modifying them, figured that I liked certain capacitors at certain spots on this particular pedal, which is a blues breaker pedal. This was actually, the schematics of this one was based off of the original Marshall blues breaker. The difference is this one's true bypass. If you don't know about the Marshall blues breaker, it is not truly true bypass, the stock version. So that's already a pretty cool modern take on the pedal. I loved how glassy it was, but I didn't like how thin it sounded. So I started reading the schematics. I started learning how to read the schematics. I wonder where my little schematics went. I had a really cool... That's a bummer. Let me find it. All right, here it is. So with the help of actually Claude AI, if you guys are familiar with that, it helped me sort of decipher what the schematic was for this blues breaker, which each part did. I started taking notes, highlighting. I bought so many different enclosures. I mean, it's been awesome. So I started printing out and making my own list of possible modifications, common modifications to the blues breaker circuit. On and on. I know I'm rambling. Sorry. Anyways, I designed my own pedal. I'm currently working on the Wampler pedal building course to really just learn more about this whole world that I've just completely fell in love with even more. I've always been a fan of pedals. I'm sure I've showed you guys many pedal board builds. On top of that, I have started working on the basic modifications of the schematics that I've made using pedal PCB, designing my own schematic using the blues breaker topology. You know, to create your own completely new schematic in terms of overdrive pedal is pretty hard to do. Most people are always using some sort of topology, whether it be a tube screamer, blues breaker, Klon, Zen Drive. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But I am happy to announce that with my modifications that I'm very, very happy about, I have sort of developed a pedal that I really like. I am calling it the Silent B. There's a sort of an inside joke to it. Look at that cool B. Is that cool or what? English is not my first language, and for a long time I thought that the B in between words were supposed to be pronounced, like subtle is an example, or dumb. Turns out it's dumb and subtle dumb. I took that basic blues breaker schematic, I changed in this schematic, which I will post in the comments, C3, which is the first capacitor that comes in with the analog signal. And I made it 100 instead of 10. That allows some of the lower frequencies to come in, making it a little bassier, but not so bassy that that bass frequency is on throughout the entire sweep of the gain and volume. I added a boost switch. So this is how this happened. I wanted to add a boost switch to a pedal. One of my favorite pedals is actually right here. Is the Thorpe FX The Dane. It has a drive on one side and a boost with a fat knob on the other side. I really, really like how the boost is always before the drive, or when I use a boost after the drive, I like to have it just boosting essentially the sound and not modifying the sound too much. But I didn't have the right tools to make my own boost pedal out of some boost circuits that I had found. I was gonna use like a Vero board or Vero board, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. And so I started thinking, I'm like, how would I incorporate a boost into this pedal? And the answer was, I realized when I boosted a pedal, I really like to keep the characteristic of the pedal, which is why I like the Dane, or why I like to use usually a blues breaker style pedal, and in front of it, an RC booster, which is a very, very, very clean boost. fattens up the sound and makes it drivier and louder, but not to the point where it was unbearable. And then I realized that's exactly what I did with this. I added the fatter capacitor in the beginning, so it sounds like I have an RC booster before this pedal. And the switch, what it does, it actually connects the input and output of the drive knob. Essentially, we're getting rid of that resistance, and it is the same as if you dialed the drive knob all the way. At first, I had built, this was the first prototype, but instead of connecting the drive potentiometer to that switch, I had put the volume potentiometer. It would make sense, right? You want to boost, you add more volume, not more drive. That's what I thought. Problem with that is, diming the volume is way more drastic than just diming the drive portion of this particular circuit. I'm not sure about other circuits. I'm only focusing on the boost breaker. And that became unbearable if, for example, I had a setting like this, where I had it driving a little harder and the volume was below noon. As you can imagine, boosting volume all the way up is pretty ridiculous. If you have a pedal in front of you, do it. I promise you, almost any pedal that's a drive pedal is going to be insanely loud. Doing it to the drive, it's not as drastic as that. It increases the drive and the volume. The blues breaker is already a very low gain overdrive. It's not a distortion pedal. So it's not like the BD2 where when you dime the drive, it turns into like a fizzy fuzz kind of thing. This just makes it fatter, drivier, and louder at a bearable amount. So having said that, after I did this prototype here, I went and started playing around with different colors, different enclosures, came up with this one. All of these are the Silent B, by the way. I just didn't know where to stop. And so I still don't even know if the colors are always going to be consistent with this pedal. I'm thinking no. I like the idea that some of the branding will be there sometimes. Sometimes it'll just be a bare pedal like this. And that the heart and soul of the pedal will still be the same. You know, blues breaker with a little boost and a little fatness to it. But I change my pedal boards all the time. I have multiple versions of the same pedal that are different colors because on top of having a fun pedal board theme, I like different colors on a pedal board. I just had a recent gig where I did a bubblegum flavored pedal board. All the pedals were pink or light blue, including this one, which is a little bit of both. Anyways, enough rambling. So I made those two. The enclosures are different. This one is actually from Love My Switches. This one is from Stomp Box Parts. This one is a little more angled. It's still a 125B case, but feels heavier. Exact same parts in here. Exact same parts. And this one has so much more weight. Feels better. You know that thing that you get sometimes when you have something heavier and it just feels better quality? I'm not sure why. This one right here is from Gorva. The enclosure is Gorva, which is really, really nice. Very sharp, very just mwah. But it closes in a little more. And so putting everything in here was a little harder. So it was a learning experience. But now I feel very comfortable with these. This is actually number one, which at the end of this video, I'll be putting links to my reverb store. I'm gonna be selling these. Speaking of parts, the switches, all the knobs were from Love My Switches or Stompbox Parts. They are all super high quality, either Davy clones or actual Davies knobs, which I have here somewhere. I mean, and the builds just kept coming. Made a big sparkly pink one, which I absolutely love. This one is just the normal blues breaker circuit with the linear pots, but no fat capacitor switch. So I'll probably just keep that one. I dabbled with a Cricut to make some labeling. My good friend printed these out for me and I started putting them on the pedal. They actually came out really good. The little B logo is awesome. That was a little more work than I wanted to do at the time because I didn't know if I wanted to commit to that font, that little icon, and I didn't want to get all those printed. So that's where these came in, where I actually just bought some stamps and some really good ink. Ignore the smudges on this one. This one doesn't have a clear coat. And the builds just kept coming. I'm just really excited right now. I made some cool different color ones. This one I used the pedal PCB layout, but the pots aren't on the PCB themselves. They're all wired up individually. 2 switches, a lot of cool colors. Looks like candy to me. Oh, look at that. Melo Tone Labs. That's the name of the brand, by the way. I don't know if I said that already. Ooh. What else we got here? What else? Well, let me put this away so I don't lose it. All right. Oh yeah, I got a bunch of drawstring bags and stamped my logo on them. Woo. Pretty cool stuff. I don't know if you can hear my dog or not. That's Rooney. The Roonster, as we like to call him. Or the Peanut. That's what my kid and my wife call him. Doesn't matter. Some of the other color codes are... Oh, this one I actually finished today. Really, really happy how this one turned out. Same color as this one with the pink and that blue-green sort of coloring, but a more matte and with a softer pink chicken head knob. Logo at the bottom. Volume, tone, and drive. Little B. Another little B. I love how this, if I had to, out of all the different color variations that I have made, if I had to pick one to be the color of this particular model, it would be this color scheme here. I just think they turned out so good. And I really do love the 125B cases with 2 switches. Some of the JHS pedals have this, like the Emperor, which is the chorus vibrato pedal. The Jam Harmonious Monk is, I believe, a 125B. Obviously a bigger circuit, so it's not top loaded jacks. I think it's a perfect size. I really do. The Dane version 2 of the Dane is not a 125B, but it's, I mean, the sizing is just about the same. And there's a reason for that, right? Well, Slurpee's a little crazy with their sizing, which I think is cool. But last one here on this box. Let's see what's in it. Ah, see? That's why I like it. I like that color a lot. Obviously, there's going to be some variations in these because every single time I built one, I tried something a little different. Not in terms... Once I settled on the boost and the fat capacitor, I didn't really switch things up as much. I have some other builds going on right now where I have some toggle switches to come up with sort of favorite settings of some of the frequencies coming into the only thing I've really been changing is the look of the pedals, the knob colors, how I put some of the stamping on there, just to change things up between pedals and see how they look, but they're all the same. Anyways, I don't even know what this video was about. It was really just me ranting. Wanted to let you guys know that I'm still here, and this is why I haven't been posting videos. I've just been so caught up in making these pedals. I've been having so much fun. I just ordered a bunch of toggle switches, some more switches. A bunch of enclosures came in yesterday and over the weekend and late last week with different sizes, different manufacturers. I have a really cool, coming from Hammond, really cool enclosure that's going to be very hard. And I'm hoping that I have my PCB designed by then so that I can get it to fit, because the enclosure is a little different. I was able to score some really cool enclosures from Stomp, Small Bear Electronics. The cases were originally made for analog men. I don't know if he didn't like the color or the sizing or something. So it's got this really cool textured black and gray thing going. So I'm really trying to figure out what color coordination I'll do with those. And I'll keep you guys updated. I have a lot to do now. I have to make a website. I have to take a bunch of pictures, post these on Reverb for some of these that I'll be selling. And I really hope to be able to make a video of how I designed my PCB. I don't know if other people are interested in that or not. It's still a learning curve. I'm not really gonna do it until I have a better grasp on it. Even though it can be relatively cheap to design a PCB, get it printed, sent, test it. If it doesn't work, whatever, try again. It's just time consuming. It's just a lot of time. And between band stuff and work and kids and family, and I've only been doing this late night, which surprisingly has been taking a toll on my back. Because I'm like this hunched over when I'm soldering. So that's something else I need to figure out. Maybe I'll do a video about that. My workstation, how it's working, what's not working. If anybody out there has a suggestion. I'm hesitant on buying any furniture or storage systems right now because I don't want to commit to something that I'm not sure it's gonna work. That's it. Again, thanks for being patient with me with this video. I hope it's coming across how unbelievably excited I am about making these pedals. I didn't think this would be me. I bought my first little kit from Aeon Effects over a year ago. It's been sitting, you can't see it, but it was sitting there forever, for like a year, I think. I'm pretty sure that's when I bought it, a year ago. And I was too scared to solder. I had bought a soldering iron to switch pickups on my guitar. And now I'm learning it's fine, it's not hard. You just have to be careful because it can be a little toxic, so don't breathe that stuff in. That's it. Thank you so much. See you guys next video. Bye.